Okay, so today we're going to talk about building data sets, building test data sets that you can use to try things and help develop your workspaces and your techniques. So I've got a property editor here, property window here, and I'm going to go into data, A for add, data set, and build data set. Now right click on here, and you can do a predefined data set, and then we'll just see what that looks like. Okay, and then F5 to run, and drag this out onto the desktop, tidy it up, and this is what we've got. So how does this work? So if we look at the property of the build data set node, give that a refresh, and it's saying I'm doing one subset. It doesn't have any scan axes. And then if we go into this output here, the build subset, it's saying I've got a 2000 point axis starting at 12, step 0.01 units of microseconds. And if I hover over here, get the tooltip, you can see that you've got an axis that fits that description that's being created when I ran this node. Go back here again. This. You can also see the element has been described as a floating point, which is a 32-bit floating point between -100 and %. And that describes the structure of this output, this data subset there. Okay, so for the contents, it is in this fill script, and it's a little, it's not completely clear what this is doing, but you can sort of see that it's got a baseline of 0, so it's flat there, and there's 3 pulses, and that's what that's done. And so what do those mean? So basically, the mechanism that this uses is there's this little object here, which is a data injector, and it's got all these tasks on it that inject data into the data set. So we've got a connection going from here to here. This object is going to say, okay, I'm going to perform this task. The first one is what is it? Fill with value, and then it's putting in a 0. And so these are basically tasks that are run on this object and acting on the data set. So, okay, little challenging to get around, but there are some helper tools here. So maybe I'll just delete this script, and this script, just in case you missed it, is this property here on the output of the data set fill script here. If you do the ... you can get an editor there, but it's just this property here. Okay, so let's do this by hand, and for now I'm just going to run this, and you'll see our data's gone away. And so we right click here, add fill task, and let's start with our fill with value, and that has one task parameter, and we're going to leave that at 0, and we press OK. Now, when it comes from a task, you've got name parameters, which obviously read a little more clearly, but obviously take up more space, and now we've got our flat line. Okay, so, and then the rest is just, you can try out all the various things. I will add a pulse, and number of cycles 2. Thing to know is mostly this works in pixels, so it's not in axis units. The values are all in pixels. So we can, the value would be, that's the value of 50%. Let's make it 75. And this is 2,000 points if you remember. So start and end, that's good. X and Y are the second and third axis. They don't exist. W is the fourth axis. So you can just leave those blank. And we press OK, and we've got a pulse. Now, again, it's very verbose. You could end up just getting rid of a bunch of this stuff. It'll default to something sensible. Maybe we'll leave phase there. So if we do phase of, I don't know, 45 degrees up here, F5 to run, and you do that. Okay, so I think that's all the script. You can just keep going. I think you can see that you can either use name parameters or parameters by order as in the default values. Then probably the last thing to cover would be to look at adding a scan axis. So you can add an axis as if we were collecting this using a probe on with a motorized axis. Okay, and so now it's given us an axis, 10 points, resolution of 1. We could put units of millimeters, and if we run that, I'm going to flip over here, layout, there, and you can see that we've got a B-scan now. I probably, you know, why don't I get rid of that and then just do it again so I can do my y-axis. So add fill tasks, add pulse, and I think the defaults were pretty good last time, so we just do that, and then we can run that again. So I'm going to, you see it's missing the first point, so I'm going to put y starting at 0. 12 is past the end, Z it's going to ignore, so it'll do that. And so we've got that filling up. And let's do another pulse. We'll put it out later in time. And so let's do 1200 to 1300. And we'll be careful with y this time. It's 10 points, and can get rid of all this. Why don't we put the phase as 180 degrees there, and maybe go to the A-scan view, and that's pretty much what you'd expect. So you can add more axes, you can add more subsets, and pretty much do what you want. The other pattern to know is put everything you need on here. And by that I mean if you need time to distance objects or palettes or annotations, put them on the build data set, they'll get pushed out. Explore the predefined ones. They do a lot of work for you, so this would be a sweep. You can see it's put a beam set, probe configuration. I run it, and we've got a phased array sweep. I can go ahead and do add sweep correction. That will drag out, give it a bit more space, and you've got a sweep there. So there's a bunch of predefined scans, and I think if you work through those, you should be able to find your way through here. You can see we've got, how many is that? 6 pulses. See the pulses show up there, or is it 7? I guess it's 7. Okay, I think that's good for now. So everyone have a good day.